I've seen a lot of reports of people having difficulty sleeping during the latest lockdown, or having interrupted sleep, or not feeling refreshed and energized when they wake up. Now, there are plenty of junk lightweight articles on Yahoo telling you how to sleep, but give me 7 minutes and I will give you the definitive guide backed up with the latest research on how to sleep, stay asleep and wake up ready to fight a tiger. Now first we'll look at the simple things, and first among equals is regularity. Regularity just means going to bed at the same time and getting up at the same time. This anchors sleep. Now you may need to experiment a bit, but once you find the times that work for you, stick with them if you possibly can. You have a 24-hour clock and your body does well with consistency. Next is temperature. It's probably smart to switch off the central heating about an hour before you go to bed. Your body cools when you sleep, typically 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is why it's sometimes tough to sleep in a hot summer. You certainly don't want temperature much above 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and if you can stand it a little colder, that's okay. Interestingly, I was trying ice baths a while ago as part of a different kind of self-experiment, and for schedule reasons I took them last thing at night. This was like being hit with a tranquilizer dart, and it might be helpful if the summer's a hot one. Third is darkness. This may sound obvious, but just look how dark your bedroom actually is. If you live anywhere urban or even suburban, there's a fair bet it's not that dark. So think about some blackout curtains, or find some way of really darkening your room. Melatonin is the sleep hormone, and its release is triggered by darkness. So dim the lights in your house as bedtime approaches, and don't look at phones for about the last 30 minutes before you go to bed. You can get melatonin supplements online, and I've never tried these, so if anyone has, please let me know how they worked out in the comments. Fourth is don't eat for at least 3 hours before bedtime. It's pretty obvious, and I'll pick up the detail later when we look at cortisol. Similarly, the roles of alcohol and caffeine in disturbing sleep are well known and well understood. If you have to do caffeine, do so in the morning only. Now I'm going to take a look at some of the more esoteric and newer approaches. There's a school of thought which says take a break. If you can't sleep after about 20 minutes, or if you wake and you can't fall asleep again, get up and do something else. Now I'm not sure about this one. The idea is that the bed is a wakefulness trigger, and I don't really buy that. And there's some danger if you get up and do something else for a short time, it becomes a very long time indeed. I've done that in the past. So you might want to try it. Personally, I haven't found this one that effective. Next, and this is quite important, have a wind down routine. You need to de-stress. So if you're always on the go, like a workaholic type, de-stress. This could be meditating or reading something not too heavy. And this may relate to something called the glymphatic system. This is a recently discovered macroscopic waste clearance system. It removes, amongst other things, a toxic protein called beta-amyloid from brain tissue. And this has profound anti-aging properties. Intriguingly, the glymphatic system seems to function mainly during sleep and is largely disengaged during wakefulness. So the biological need for sleep across all species may reflect the fact that the brain has to enter a state of sleep in order for the elimination of the potentially neurotoxic waste to take place. Now, the concept of the glymphatic system is relatively new, and the science is evolving fast, but it may play a role in the regulation of other hormones. It's possible that certain neurological disorders may be prevented or treated by manipulating the glymphatic system. So this means that things like dirty brain diseases like Alzheimer's could finally have some kind of treatment protocol. Now, the understanding of precisely how the brain activates the glymphatic system is not fully developed, but it's been suggested that being calm and relaxed before going to sleep may make it work more efficiently. This is not unimportant. Before you sleep, relax, have a ritual. Your brain will thank you. Another one that I've never tried is red light therapy. Supposedly this is quite healing before bedtime as well as calming. Proponents claim that if you read by, say, red light, this isn't a stimulating colour, whereas other colours in the visible light spectrum will provoke wakefulness. I've never tried this, and if anyone has, please let me know what you think. Next one is quite important. Get some light in the morning. There's a real benefit here. Your circadian rhythm, which is the natural internal process that regulates the sleep-wake cycle, is triggered by exposure to daylight. It starts the clock running, so to speak, on the amount of time you'll be awake. You really need to do this outside for maximum benefit. Now, I know if you live in the UK or other places in the Northern Hemisphere, this can be pretty unappealing, particularly in the winter. It could be raining, it could be cold, and it's hard to get out. But if at all possible, do so. even if you just put your coat on and sit outside with your tea or go for a walk, but try to get some natural light. Now the next one, everyone will tell you about exercise, but I read a study which looked at what point of the day it was best to do the exercise for the maximum amount of sleep. It was shown that exercise in the morning is far better than the afternoon or the evening. You can certainly combine this cardio with cardio training such as walking, cycling or running, or you might enjoy bodyweight exercise in the park. Anything's okay as long as you exercise early and, as above, ideally in the light. Another thing I've never tried are the various sleep apps, but proponents swear by them. If you use them in combination with a Fitbit or a smartwatch, you can get some feedback, and obviously if you still can't sleep, some data on the problem could be helpful. The last thing I found was the possibility of a cortisol dump at night. Now, as we saw above, melatonin is the sleep hormone, and this is secreted by the pineal gland. I've heard it suggested on the web that temperature guns pointed at the forehead interfere with the pineal gland. I don't know if that's true, but I'm pretty sure that some of the operatives who use them are not medically trained, so it might be prudent to have a temperature check just taken from your wrist. Now, cortisol and melatonin are opposites, and cortisol will, for very obvious evolutionary reasons, turn off melatonin. This is why if you're worried about something and you produce a lot of cortisol, you would have the proverbial sleepless night. Now, if you can have relatively stable blood sugar throughout the night, you won't need to produce any cortisol to generate energy. However, if your blood sugar is swinging erratically, then your body may produce cortisol, which in turn produces glucose for immediate energy. Obviously, this is very bad if you want restful sleep at night. So it's wise to be careful about the foods which spike and crash blood sugar. These are things like processed foods, pasta, grain, sugar. Too much of this type of food will spike and crash your blood sugar, and it really hurts sleep, especially if you eat them late at night. So, to summarize, you need regularity, low temperatures, darkness, and not eating within 3 hours of bedtime. Avoid caffeine and alcohol. I like to de-stress before bedtime, and this seems to help. As to the others, I've really taken to morning exercise and exercising outdoors because of the light exposure. The other ideas, by all means, give them a try and let me know how you get on. If you like this, please like, recommend, and subscribe.